In the last video I finished up the camper floor, so in this video I'm going to be making the camper sides. And I want to make sure I get the window cut out and the door cut out perfect, so I'm using some scrap sheathing that was left over from the bottom of the camper floor to create these templates with the right size and radius, and that will just make it easier to route out the openings. Once I get my sawhorses set up, I then pull out the first sheet of plywood, and I spend quite a bit of time doing the layout on this one because I want to make sure I get this right and not mess it up, because I'll be laying this one over the top of the second one to make sure they're identical. I'm measuring and marking for that corner notch that's going to go in the front, and then I bring my templates out for the door and the window and try to get some layout lines on here to make sure that I get everything in the right place. I want the door opening to be, the top of the door opening to be in line with the top of the window opening. Once I'm happy with the positioning of the front door, I'll mark that, and then I'll come back with a drill and drill a little hole and use my little jigsaw to kind of rough cut the opening, and then I'm going to come back with the router and use the templates to clean it up and get a nice smooth finish. So by the time it gets done, you'll think it was cut on a CNC, but just want to make sure I get those perfect. And I'm sure somebody's probably going to leave a snarky comment down below that I could have just used the router to hog all that out. And that is true, but the only flush trim router bit that I had that had the bearing on the side that I needed it on was a 3/4 inch diameter thing, and I just didn't want to have to cut that big a hole and waste 1.5 inches of material from the window cutout that I'm going to use. So I opted to just use the little jigsaw, cut about a 1/16 to a 1/8 inch inside the line, and then use the template and that big old flush trim router bit to clean it up, and it came out perfect. Here I'm getting ready to cut a couple of pieces of plywood that are 1 foot by 4 foot, and these are going to be the 1 foot extension that I'm adding to the galley. So the side panels will actually be 4 foot by 9 foot. After I got both side panels cut, I laid them on top of one another and took my time getting them all flushed up to make sure they're as identical as I can get them. And I found out after I got them all flush on all 3 sides there that one corner piece where I cut that notch, somehow I got on the wrong side of the line on one of them. So I just decided to take a little flush trim router bit and use that to make them the exact same. The method I'm going to use to attach the 1 foot extension to the rest of the side panels is a combination of 8 biscuits, which you see me putting cutting the holes for the biscuits now, and lots of glue, and also 8 pocket hole screws that I'm going to put in between each biscuit. I think I'm running the biscuits 6 inches apart, and I do the same thing with the pocket hole screws, only they're right in the middle of where the biscuits go. So I have to put the use the biscuit joiner to put those slots in there, and now you see me getting ready to do the panel itself so that they'll line up. What you see me doing here is I've taken a biscuit and just kind of scraping the dust out of the little slot that was put in by the biscuit joiner. I didn't have any kind of shop vac or anything hooked up to it, so there wasn't anything to suck the dust out, so that leaves quite a bit in there. So I'm making sure I get all of that out so that I can get a good glue joint when I put these two things together. Now I'm putting in the biscuits, just kind of dry fitting everything together to make sure it's going to line up right. And looks like it's going to work fine. And I'm hooking a little clamp there to pull it tight just for a second to see. And now I take this 1 foot piece over and put it on my pocket hole jig, and there you can see I'm marking the locations for the pocket holes, and I'll take it over to my Kreg K5 and put those in, and that's what will be used to pull the joint together. Okay, I've got the pocket holes all put in this extension piece, and now I'm putting the biscuits back in, and you'll see me putting lots and lots of glue on this to make sure it gets all down in there. You know, in the slot where the biscuit is and all around the biscuit, and just using a ton of glue on this. Taking my glue spreader and spreading it around, making sure I get the biscuit covered well. Now it's time to slide it in. And I'm going to take that clamp and hook it into the window opening there just so I can pull it fairly snug. And then I'm taking my little drill and putting in the pocket hole screws to finish pulling it up snug. Okay, the side walls are all done, and they turned out really well, so I'm really happy with them, and I'm especially happy to be able to finally cross this step off of the to-do list here. This was a big relief to get these out of the way. And one thing about it, I've got them laying in here on the base that's in my garage, because now that I've got that extension piece on the galley, they're now 9 foot long, so they're too long to fit in my truck and be able to get the tailgate shut to protect them from the weather. So that's okay though. I'll be having them installed on the base here in a day or two, and that'll be what's coming up in the next video. So if you got anything out of this video, please leave it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed and you'd like to follow along with this Squaredrop camper build, be sure to hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit the little bell so you get notifications as well. And until the next one, thank you very much for watching.